Good. So now I want to convert this to a GitHub or Git repository. Okay, we said Git is a version control system to keep track of the changes made in a project or in the files, exactly in the files of the project. Okay, that when we can make like copies in a database or like pictures, like to take screenshots of something in at any place in time and see how it is which is the state and the text in there. Right. So now I'm going to create the repository is usually for the solution. Okay, it can be done only for the project, but we are going to do usually for the solution. Okay. Now let's gonna create a repository in the inside. I don't create the repository outside the solution folder. I go inside the solution folder, and I have to make sure, okay, I have the SLN solution file in the folder when I create the GitHub repository. So I open, I right click and open Git bash here, okay, and I make sure this, okay, is the root file. Let me just increase this. Okay, save. I think it's really better for you. So, all right. Good. This and there. Good. So I am in this folder. Okay. So, all right. Let's just Git. I am working now only locally. I am going to initialize a local repository to add some files and to commit some files. Okay. And later I will upload them to a remote. Okay. To share with other people. So first Git command to initialize a repository, git init. Okay, with git init, it says now, okay, this folder here, this folder has got, okay, a .git folder, and it is a Git repository. All right. So we know that it is a repository because one thing, we are on a branch, usually branch master here, okay, and there's a Git folder inside, okay, the solution folder. Yes. Git status, one of the other commands that we need, okay, on branch master, okay, no commits yet, and there are untracked files. Yes, Git status gives us information about the status of the repository and the files that are inside. Okay. What if I delete this? I told what if we want to make this not anymore a repository? I just go this, delete, and this is not an email. Okay. If I say git status, say what? Not a repository. Yep. And you see. This is not a. This is okay. You can do it maybe if you have a problem at the beginning, at the very beginning, and you don't, and your project hasn't got commits, yes, and information about the version control. But this is not a good idea to do when you are already 2 weeks working in a project and you have done many commits on some branches and uploaded to the remote, etc. It's not a good idea to delete this. Also, there are some things you could do, like clone again the repository structure. But we say with git init, all right? It's initialize empty repository, all right? Git status, okay? Status. We said, okay, files in. Let me just do one thing. Okay. files in a GitHub repository are in one of three states. Okay, they are untracked. Either their files are untracked. That is, they exist in the folder, but they are not part of the repository. Okay, they are excluded from the repository. So, okay, they are staged. Okay, files are staged means that they have been added to the repository. Okay, but have not been committed. Okay, and they are committed. Okay, and committed is the files are already being being taken one screenshot in that moment how the state of the file was, right? And you can revert to that state, to that commit. Okay, so there are three steps that we can do with files. Okay, and we can move between these three stages or states. Okay, and add them to one state to another and remove them from one state to another. Good. So remember, files, every file inside a repository is in one of these three states. Untracked, this is usually the files we don't want in the repository. Okay, we don't want, but they have to exist. Temporary files like binary files, the files for debugging, etc. Or maybe important files like the ones with passwords or connection strings. Okay, you never, very, very important, never should upload to a public repository files with how do you say information that is privada, comprometida, ¿vale? Your keys, your access keys to a database server, whatever. Never. You should ignore or not track it. You should not never and push it to a remote server, remote repository, and locally because everybody else is going to watch them, and anybody could get the credentials to access the server. So that files should not be added to the repository. Okay, that file they can exist here in the how do you say in the directory because they are part of the solution and part of the project, but they stay in the local machine. Yes, they are never pushed to the repository or saved or whatever. You should do that. Okay, so remember, untracked state committed. Now our projects, our repository is initialized, but all of our files in here, okay, are untracked. Yes? How do I know? Because they are all in red. Yes? They are all in red. And say git status with the order. I know it because set the order git status. Okay. Let's say now. Well, I'm gonna to do this. All right. What is the next step? To add files and read. Always read. This is very important. Always read. Okay. There are untracked files. Use git add file, whatever, to include what will be committed. Okay. The Git is very intelligent and is giving you messages. Okay, but you have to read them and interpret and know what they mean. Okay, it's saying the next step is include, okay, to the state the files you want to commit later, right? But we said we don't want to commit all the files. Yes, we don't want to commit all the files. We want to commit what? Only the ones with the source code and only the necessary files. So what did we do for that? We need a special file, which is the gitignore, right? Here, the root, we need the gitignore file. Yes? For what? For instance, you see, look. Properties. This is, well, it says on this 88 kilobyte. This is not too much, but the WinForms UI properties, okay, not too much, 844 kilobytes. But there are usually projects are longer than that, and most of these megabytes where are okay in this 508 kilobytes. Yeah, and we don't need these ones in our repository because they are binary files and object files that are created when I execute and I debug my application. I just need the configuration of the project, okay, and the source code, program, the form, etc., and the source code, okay, in the app config, property files, maybe, right? So for that, not to include that unnecessary files that if we clone this repository to another computer, we are gonna get them and they are gonna be generated again, okay, like making a build clean, and building again the project and executing. We add to the repository what we call a gitignore file, and to just that I create with whatever text editor or like I dot git ignore. Okay, it starts with a dot, okay, and git ignore, yes, and what should be the contents of this file. Now it's empty, yep, but all right, we have to include here all the files, a description of some of the files that we don't want to include in the repository. And we saw that there is if I say GitHub, okay, git ignore, there's a special website in GitHub where I can download the contents of that file. And it has to be for the specific environment IDE we are working in. Okay, we are working in Visual Studio. Connection is that, right? I will just copy it from another one. Just hit ignore. We see, right? Just okay. Now here you see that here there are gitignore files for almost every project we have, every programming environment we have. So we have to search for Visual Studio, gitignore. We got into it. Okay, and here there's, you see, now it starts. All right, what are we gonna do? We just 300, copy the 302, Control A to copy everything. No, Control A, no. Okay, we just copy like this. And we just paste it in our gitignore. Yep. And we save it. Let's close it. We have now, okay, our gitignore. Okay, it's been, if I say lsal, okay, it's been added to our folder. It exists here, and git status. Okay, says it knows it's a gitignore. And if I say, okay, let's now add files. If I say git status, okay, there are one file, two folders inside that are untracked, yes, because they are in red. So git is saying me use git add to include in what will be committed. So if I say git add, and I can say name by name, file by file, but usual thing, the wildcard dot is for adding everything except what is set in the gitignore to be excluded. Yep. So, and if I say now git status, all right, it says okay. There are okay on branch master, no commit yet, but there are files which have been staged. Okay, so they are in the second state, right? They are included in the repository and they are ready to commit them. Okay, we go on after the party. Yes. Okay.